Yo, yo.
Yo.
Sir. All right, LJ, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's good.
All right, gentlemen, let's do this. So I'm gonna get 5 seconds of dead air so that we can use that I guess weed out any feedback before I send it to you guys. But then Chris is gonna bring us in. You good with that, Chris?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
All right, cool. All right, gentlemen, I'll lead off on Chris and then he'll take it away.
All right, welcome back to another episode of Bronze Room. It is a glorious day in the United States, California specifically, LA specifically, Glendale specifically, and along with myself and my co-host Chris, we have a guest in the house. His name is LJ. LJ, why don't you introduce yourself to the beautiful people?
What's good, world? It's your boy LJ. I'm back to grace the stage with my brothers, man. Thanks for having me back. Working hard,
Hell
man.
yeah,
Working
man.
hard, working hard. Just working hard.
Hell yeah.
That's what we do, man. We're always working hard around here, man. We're just strong, independent black men, and that's what we do. We work hard.
Yes,
That's a
sir.
fact. That's a fact.
So how we starting off the episode today? I think we have a couple of new segments that we're going to be bringing to the audience. First off, let's get it with the on this day, today.
Yeah, all right, yeah, absolutely. Let's start off on this day. This is quickly, I mean, this is our first time doing it, but I'm sure that I'm going to love it going forward. But on this day, just to explain it to everybody, we take something that has happened in history on this particular day, the day that we're doing the podcast. Because we're in Black History Month, I did want to bring something that is relating to that. And what I decided to come with today was on this day, Charlotte E. Ray becomes the first Black female lawyer. Yes, sir. So today,
Dope.
February 20, 1872, she became the first Black female lawyer. Listen to us, y'all. She was born in New York City in 1850, and she became the first African-American lawyer in the U.S. and the first practicing female lawyer in Washington, D.C., and that's according to the Leadership Conference on Civil Human Rights. So on this day, Charlotte E. Ray became the first Black female lawyer. So shout out to you, Charlotte.
Hey, big shout out to Charlotte E. Ray.
Salute to you, Charlotte. Beast.
Absolutely. It's due to efforts and accomplishments like hers that paved the way for the Supreme Court nominee.
That's right.
Khadijah. You know what? I'm going to butcher her name.
Yeah, don't butcher her name.
Yeah, let me put some respect on her name real quick. Let's
Better
look
do
that
that.
up. You know.
So her name is Ketanji Brown.
Ketanji.
Put some respect on her name.
Put it on there.
Yes,
Thick,
yes,
too.
sir. Hey, she's pretty, man, bro. Wait, did you mean like?
No, I meant put the respect on thick.
Yeah, put the respect on thick. She's thick. She's thick.
Thick respect. We salute you, Miss Ketanji. Representing us proud. I'm really happy to see that nomination taking place, and hopefully it goes through without a hitch.
Absolutely, man. I don't know, but with these Republicans, we will definitely see it. We're not gonna get too deep into that, but yeah, we got nothing but love for you, Ketanji.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So what's
For
going
sure.
on in the world this week? What's happening, man?
Honestly, it's just another blessed week out here. Just trying to maintain. That's all we can do is try to maintain on a daily basis and get better in the process.
I love that. Yes, sir. Maintain. Yeah, that's the word of the week right there. Maintain.
I like it.
What about you, LJ? What's going on with you this week, man?
Wow, man.
Any new projects?
Man, still maintaining. Like Chris said, song battles, pushing that. So
Okay.
for y'all that don't know, we got some upcoming artists, amazing artists from around the world that are competing against each other on our show's song battle. So tonight, actually, we got another another face off between these two artists. One is out of LA and one is out of Palm Beach, Florida, West Palm Beach, actually. So,
hey, where can we find this at? If we wanted to tune in, where can we find this at?
you know what? You can go to our website, mixer.app/battle, mixer myxr.app, or we're going live to Twitch, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, and Facebook at the same time. So if you happen to be listening right now and you just type in Mixer app, MYXRAPP, you're definitely gonna find it there. So yeah, definitely tap in, see these artists. They got a lot to say, and they, real talented, straight up. So yeah, so we got that, and I'm trying to think what else I got going on. Trying to sell some shirts every now and then, same old same. Hey, last night I actually came from a weird enough, as we be in the tech a little bit. I came from this. I went to a NFT art gallery, and these cats just had digital screens on the wall with the NFT art in it, and then they've had these QR codes you could just buy the art. So it was real dope, man. Like seeing how some people have taken it, because this was like a real art gallery space. You know what I'm saying?
Wow,
it's
crazy.
Just crazy.
It's blowing up. Something that was relatively unknown to most of the world, and now you have these really upscale art galleries that are popping up like that. So how much were some of these art pieces going for, if you don't mind me asking, bro?
Man, I think one was going for 12,000, and there was another one that was a few thousand. There was I want to say it was like 5-6 pieces on the wall, and I didn't check all the QR codes. I probably should have, but the pieces though, like the art was real dope. These 3D designs that these people came up with, it's like people are really talented out here. Really talented cats out here. Really talented. So I do want to shout out the cats that put it together. The name Skepter. I really don't want to. I don't want to f up the name, but their name I think is Skepter. Yeah, got to put some respect on their stuff, man. Dang. Well, I mean, while I think of them, they basically have this thing called a DAO, and I'm learning more about this crypto stuff as the days go. So you got to forgive me if I say anything that's like not officially on point. But from what I know, a DAO is like a community of crypto buyers and stakers, and they put these projects together. And when they come together and have these projects, everybody is universally tied to it as an owner. So in this space that I was in yesterday for this art gallery, apparently the guy who owned the space, everybody that's a part of this DAO community of his is a part owner in this space with him. So if you had something that you wanted to do in this space, you have the opportunity to do that, even though you didn't put any money up. You just become a part of this community, engage, and some of the perks that these people offer, you can have also. But everybody kind of splits the pot when it comes to the profits. So it's real interesting to see.
Yeah, that's actually really cool. That's a great way to build a community, and also to continue to put that NFT name out there, to get it to further. That's really cool. That's a great community, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's called Seker Factory, SEKER Factory. Shout out to them for putting that together. I think we're gonna try to put some like music NFTs in there in that space sometime in the future. So shout out to them, because there's some good people over there.
And so we're gonna make sure to put that. So we're gonna make sure to put where you can find the Mixer app as well as Seker Factory in our description of the show. So anybody who wants to check it out, you're more than welcome to go check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. 100. I love it. NFTs are creating avenues of income and investment for the common man. It's about time. We tired of all these Wall Street fat cats hogging all the money up. There's enough out here for all of them.
Facts.
Yo, you know, if you know anything when you tune into the Browns room, you know it's gonna be somebody here that's hey, I'm for the people.
Yeah, that's for sure. One thing
Straight up.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
For the people.
Can't deny that. You know, you can tell he feels some type of way. That's all right. That's all good.
Oh man.
All right. So we're gonna move on to our first topic. I'm glad that everybody's doing well. Everybody's maintaining. Chris, what's our first topic of the week?
First topic up for discussion is going to be Juwan Howard.
Juwan
Howard.
Bro, what's going on? Juwan Howard.
Michigan's finest.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
So, I mean, you know, LJ, you might know a little bit more about Juwan Howard's background. Would you mind enlightening us for a little bit of what Juwan Howard, where he comes from?
Yeah, for sure. Deshaun Howard, pro basketball player, went to University of Michigan. He's part of the Fab Five. Back when it was him, Chris Tucker. I'm not Chris Tucker. Wow, man. Wow. Not Chris Tucker, man. No, bro. Chris Webber. My bad, Chris Webber. It was him, Chris Webber, Jalen Rose.
Wow.
Him, Chris Webber, Jalen Rose. Who else was in the Fab Five? Damn, man.
I mean, wow, that's already.
But those three were like the big dogs that ended up going there, and so he had a really long career in the NBA. I think he actually won a championship with the Miami Heat.
Nice.
I think when LeBron was there.
Yeah.
I'd have to double check, but he won with the Heat, I think in 2011 and 2012. So he's been around for a minute, and I guess he's coaching now, Michigan, the same school that he went to. So now, because that's what happened, right? He ended up smacking the shit out of somebody at a Michigan game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So that's a little bit on his background, just to clarify that up a little bit. So starting with the Fab Five. So the Fab Five was Chris Webber, James Rose, Howard, Jim King, and Ray Jackson.
Ray Jackson.
Yeah, the Fab Five. And then also, so he actually has 2 rings. So for the Heat. So from 2012 and 2013.
Yeah, that was when LeBron was there. Yep.
Yeah, yes, sir. But yeah, so what was going on with them this week, Chris? What happened?
So apparently, you know, Michigan was getting beat. They were getting beat by Wisconsin, and Juwan Howard felt some type of way because he felt that at the end of the game they should have just kind of like let the clock play out, but instead Wisconsin was they were implementing some strategic timeouts specifically and strategic play. And you know, Juwan Howard just was upset. He was upset about the loss. He's upset about Wisconsin continuing to play like this game actually was still on the line, or you know, it was still up in the air. And so during the handshake line, you know, I guess he was walking past everybody without shaking hands, and one of the assistant coaches or the head coach, I'm not sure who, didn't like that, so he grabbed Juwan by the arm and was like, "Hey, you need to show me some respect. Right? Put some respect on this shit." So Juwan Howard, you know, he didn't like that, and they started, you know, going at it, shooting words back and forth. The 2 teams got involved and were trying to separate the 2 gentlemen originally. In the midst of all that, Juwan Howard takes a swipe at one of the assistant coaches, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Well, he kind of like smashed him with his hand.
Yeah, he swiped at him, but it wasn't like with a fist. It looked like he was maybe trying to slap him or something, or maybe stiff arm him.
Stiff arm him is more accurate.
Yeah. So yeah, Juwan Howard's been under a lot of heat ever since, and his job has been kind of in suspension ever since. And I think the final ruling on it on Michigan's side is that they're going to just suspend him for the rest of the season. A lot of people were thinking that he should have been fired. And so, where you guys weigh in on that?
Well, first off, so he was suspended for, like you said, 5 games for the remainder of the regular season, but he was also fined $40,000 as well. So that's not
that hurts
for us regular black folk.
That hurts.
that hurts, you know.
Yeah.
As far as him, like how I feel about him getting suspended, I mean, he didn't start it. He sure did finish it though.
Right.
No, he sure did finish it. I think he should have been a little bit more sportsmanlike.
Yeah.
But when you're in the heat of the moment and it means that much to you, and then not only that, but then somebody tries to pull your card, you know what I'm saying? But not only pull your card, it's the same person who did the thing to you.
Yeah.
Try to pull your card. You know, at that point, how much further can you push the man?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not mad at Juwan Howard for being upset. I'm not mad at him for not shaking any of the players or coaches' hands. I am a little disappointed. In Juwan for taking a swipe at this dude because, for one, it puts the microscope on him. For two, when you are in a position of authority and leadership, specifically with young men, you got to set a good example. You have to. And now when Juwan is in the locker room for next season, because he's suspended for the rest of this season. Next season, when he tries to command control of his team, specifically when it comes to altercations, he has no real credible say in that.
Yeah,
because of his own action. If you're a leader, you can't put yourself in that predicament.
And it only stains his reputation, you know, for how people think of him now. They're always going to be able to go back to that clip. No matter what he does, you kind of always seen for the most negative thing, especially when you're like a black person in a coaching kind of with that position. You know, they don't give many black coaches that opportunity. So, you know, that's really going to be like, I could see that being something that's like a stain on his credibility just because of that. And it could have been completely justified in the heat of that moment. Cause you know, sometimes what you see on the outside don't really reflect what really happened on the inside. Exactly. But over time, we don't give a shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, even you think about like when I think about the Malice in the Palace, the Pacers against the Pistons. Remember that with Ron Artest and them, and then they fought everybody. In the moment, watching the game, maybe it is justified. Like, oh yeah, this nigga threw a cup or whatever the fuck happened. You know what I'm saying? But then the more time that goes by, everybody that's involved in that is like, yo, that shit was stupid. You know, but we could never get rid of that shit. You never get rid of it. So yeah, I'm with you, Chris. You gotta be on point with your actions. You gotta think about that. And he's in a leadership role. He's not like an assistant coach. You know what I mean? He's Juwan Howard, my nigga. You know what I mean? Like his jersey Raptors for sure. Raptors.
Touch back on what you were saying earlier, though, LJ. The fact that there's so few of us that are given these opportunities. When we do have that opportunity, we got to take care of it, right? So we got to take care of that leadership role that we've been given. Because it is unfair. If it was somebody else, I mean, we can always say, hey, what the same thing. Would the same thing have happened if it was somebody else? Would the optics have been the same? If it was
if Bobby Knight would have smacked the shit out of somebody, I don't think that they would look at Bobby Knight like any different than they already look at him. Because he was throwing chairs on the fucking court. He was the wild kind of figure. But even then, I think he kind of created that reputation for himself and he owned it. So we okay with it. It's like some Trump type of shit. But Juwan Howard never came off like that. So this is just kind of like our first time seeing that. I think that's that's the one factor that's a little different. You gotta be known for doing that type of shit, and maybe they let it go a little bit more. I'm not saying it's okay, but I think maybe they let it go a little bit more. But when you black, you want as black people, we come into these positions, we deserve respect, and we also are probably overly respectful to everybody else involved because we don't want to ruffle feathers or whatever, So I can only imagine what the man was really going through as a coach at Michigan and being Juwan Howard, because you got to think like athletes are probably pretty well like tempered, you know what I mean? But
For the most part,
you would think at least that a coach would not really get out of hand just off of a loss when your job is all predicated on wins and losses. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's like it's a part of the job title. So I don't know. To me, it's like maybe there's something more there that we aren't gonna know about, until maybe down the line when something comes out.
Yeah, this was regular season game. Like it wasn't.
I believe the stakes that were determining like seeding in the NCAA
March Madness.
Which is not a deal,
Yes, not.
It's a bit of a bigger deal.
Yes.
And then I think the way that he played too. 15 seconds left, and you call that timeout. That's kind of frustrating when you're already so far ahead.
Yeah.
It's like in that like spitting on the wound a little bit.
A little bit, it is.
Yeah, so it's like a lack of sportsmanship too in there. Yeah, and I could see how that could actually piss somebody off that is an athlete more than anything else. It's like you know what I mean? Like we try to be sportsmen when we play. It's like it's for high stakes, but we also got respect for our opponent, for the most part. So maybe that got something to do with it.
Yeah, I'm sure it did. But I think the biggest takeaway for me personally is that a lot of circumstances are going to come up in each one of our lives, both here in the studio and outside with our audience's lives. Emotions are going to get involved. Mm-hmm. Your actions have to be appropriate.
Right.
You're going to get angry for any number of reasons on a day-to-day basis. It doesn't mean that your actions are going to be justified because of that emotion.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know what I mean? And the second biggest takeaway is, because we have so few opportunities in those high-ranking positions, we have to go above and beyond. We got to do better than anybody else because we're being looked at with more scrutiny and criticism.
Yeah.
So you have to operate, like Obama. Obama, I think he did the best job with as much pressure as he had on his shoulders, being the first black man to run the country. And you don't think he was getting pissed off and just dog.
Right. Like blacking for everything.
Yeah, dog. He could have wilded out, and I wouldn't have blamed him. I would have been right there with him. But he knew that, hey, my actions are going to speak for the rest of my people to a small extent.
No, not a small extent.
To a large extent. To a large extent.
Yeah.
So
because everybody was looking at him as the first black. You're the first. You know what I mean? You set the bar.
And it's such a public, but it's the most public position in the entire world.
Right.
Right. So I think you're absolutely right about that. And then to your point, to where where you were your first point, where you are going to be in positions where our emotions may get involved. It has specifically to do with with leadership, but it's not just black people, it's everybody. A lot of times we talk to just our black listeners, but it's everybody who's listening. It's like you're gonna be in a position like that, and you need to be able to let cooler heads prevail. You need to be able to take a step back and say, what are the consequences going to be for this action? Where can this lead? If I do this, am I going to end up losing a great opportunity? Am I going to end up in jail? You got to be able to think about those consequences.
Absolutely. I want to end this whole segment off with, in life, this is chess, not checkers. Play accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great segment. I was going to say operate like Obama, but that's a good one.
Yeah, that fits too. He was a master chess player as well, so you know what I mean? Got his wife primed for 2024 if she so wanted to take that.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
How crazy would that be?
We sow seed today for tomorrow's harvest. Keep that in mind.
Oh, you preaching now.
Let me stop. Let me stop, please.
You talking some real stuff, bro. That's factual. All of that, man.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's take a second from that. Let's breathe a little bit. Let's move on to something a little bit more interesting. You know, everybody loves coffee. Everybody, at least I think everybody loves coffee. If you don't like coffee,
I'm about to make some coffee right now just because you said coffee.
See what I'm saying? Look, hey, I remember when I was a kid, I would listen to that. You remember that commercial? The best part of waking up. It's oranges in your cup. So our next topic today has to do with a major coffee maker, which is Starbucks. Chris, what's going on with Starbucks this week?
So, I mean, I'm not totally educated on everything that's going on, unfortunately, but the bulk of the issue is employees of Starbucks are trying to unionize, and Starbucks is trying to bust up the union. And they're trying to manipulate, or they're just trying to cause a little friction between those employees making that happen and the union forming. So I think this is a major topic to discuss and talk about because it sheds light on the influence of corporate America and how they aren't necessarily always in favor, a lot of times, honestly, aren't in favor of the common man. You know what I mean? Right. Unions generally allow employees to band together to limit a corporation or company's ability to stagnate their wages, to stagnate their benefits.
Yeah.
And yeah, with a company like Starbucks that has at least come off as a company that's in favor of their employees' benefits. I know that they did a lot of good work in the way of providing tuition for education to a lot of their employees. They do also look out for their bottom line, and their bottom line is greatly increased when you stagnate wages.
Yeah, I agree. So yeah, it allows, it basically allows, like you were saying, workers, it gives them more rights in the workplace. It gives them a platform to negotiate their working conditions. Right. And so for those of us who don't know, the first, so a worker's right to form a union was first established in 1935. That's in U.S. federal law, and that was through the passage of the National Labor Relations Act. And so this act just, it makes sure that every employer has to, in good faith, they have to bargain with an officially recognized union of its workers. So this basically means you got to negotiate. You got to negotiate with your workers who are a major part of the reason you're making money in the first place. So I think, unions too are a good thing. Now, we have to say unions, they might have gotten a little bit of a tarnish on the name because they were, they had ties with like the mob and things like that. But for the most part, they do give, that's largely been disbanded, really for the most part. And now it's just giving the workers the rights that they deserve. So this first wave of unionization at Starbucks, so this began in Buffalo, New York, and this was in December 2021. So they voted, so 2 of their stores in Buffalo, New York voted to unionize their Starbucks. They haven't really given any demands or anything yet, but the good news is that they have unionized, and so that's great news. Starbucks obviously does not want this to happen. Most companies don't want this to happen because it hurts their bottom line. But good thing. What about you, LJ?
Well, I think that unions sometimes are indicators of a company getting too big. So I kind of think that Starbucks is at a point where they're just too big, and the people at the top are making way too much money. I'm not really a person that's against unions, I don't think I've ever actually been a part of a union, but I've I've talked to people that have worked for businesses that had to fight against the union um, companies. I don't know what they're really called, but like the groups of the union corporations that go in and then force people to be union. So and a lot of times, well, from that experience, that person was telling me that the workers there were signing away into a worse situation. But the idea of being a part of a union community was more appetizing, so people did it. But then the actual terms that they signed up for being in a union were actually worse than the ones that they were in. So I don't really know.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes if a company gets too big, then people will start to say that they should be unionized, and I don't know if that's the case here, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, so I want to touch a little bit more on that in like a second, like the two big things. But as somebody who has worked for two separate unions, I did work for a union when I worked at Albertsons. That was like my first job.
Hmm.
I have definitely feelings about that. And then I worked for a union when I started working at City of Hope as well. But the first union that I worked for, I think is the one that I had. I think for both unions, it's both good and bad, right? So there's some pros and some cons. Number one, they definitely do fight for the wage thing. I mean, they fight fiercely for your wage, right? At least in my experience, they fought fiercely for our wages, to keep our wages up and to keep our workload at a reasonable volume.
Hmm.
One thing is like you were saying, not all unions have their what's the word, their members' best interests at heart. I do definitely
Hmm.
did notice some representatives coming over that you could definitely tell were just there to pick up a check and were not there to really listen to the employees or anything like that. And then, for the most part, didn't really have any accurate information to give people. So,
Mm.
it's a give and take. There are pros and cons. Like you said, the idea of a union is what is tantalizing. That's what people kind of go to, is to have like this
Right.
force that's behind you, back you up, and supports you. But I'm curious about what you were saying about it means that a company's too big. Like go a little bit more into that. What do you mean?
Oh yeah. Okay. Well, sometimes I think in the case with this, like, it wouldn't surprise me if the people who own Starbucks, they're super successful. They allow people to franchise out, so the revenue stream that they're getting is exponential. From when they first started, and I'm pretty sure that are they. I would have to check this, but are they a public traded company or are they private still?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
definitely.
can definitely buy stock and Starbucks.
Oh, okay. So even more so, since they are publicly traded, I would love to see what the stock price is. Um, and I
Yeah.
sometimes feel like
So you're saying because they're making they
they're
make so
making
much
so much they're
money.
making so much money that it's now time for them to chip in on the labor the labor unions,
Hmm.
and keep that well running,
Yeah.
and be a part of this
Well,
system that all these other companies are a part of. Because when you do that, then you're a good American company. You know, I think it's
yeah,
it's some
absolutely.
propaganda kind of attached to it. Have you guys seen the movie on Netflix that Scorsese made with
You talking about the Irishman?
the Irishman? Yeah, in that movie,
Yeah.
it talks about Jimmy Hoffa, and
Hmm.
um, I'm I'm pretty sure the creation of the labor unions, and the influence that was put in to, to keep the operations at a certain kind of structure. So you know it
Yeah.
is a
I
movie,
mean,
and there is probably some exaggeration with that, but if there's any truth to that being like the foundation of why people decided to do it, and how it's operated on, I wouldn't be surprised if they say who is making so much money that we could make a case for them to be unionized. Starbucks, IBM, Facebook. I don't think Facebook's unionized yet, but with this metaverse shit, it may happen.
In the past for workers at Facebook to get unionized, and also at Google as well, and I think both were effectively squashed specifically.
Yeah, they don't want to do that shit.
Yeah, I mean, generally what happens when a union is formed is workers are feeling encroached upon to begin with. Mm-hmm. Usually you don't go to a happy company with happy employees and the union comes out of nowhere.
Which doesn't make sense for Starbucks, right? Because Starbucks is supposed to be that company. It's supposed to be the company that
Well, that's why I'm curious as to what started this trend.
Well, they're not. They don't have the best customer engagement. Do you remember when they kicked those kids out that wanted to go to the bathroom?
Well, not talking about the customers, talking about the employees, the workers. You know what I mean? Because the union is going to take place inside a company where the employees are not happy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. And so for some of our listeners out there who may or may not work for Starbucks, you can remain anonymous if you want to, but leave some in the comments. Let us know. Does Starbucks treat you well, or as a customer? As an employee of Starbucks, do you feel like it's a good company? Do you feel like there is a case for unionization? Let us know.
Yeah, definitely. Please educate us on this aspect, on this topic, and maybe we'll bring this topic back to discussion next week.
Oh yeah, I'm down for that.
Hey, before you go to the next topic, I want to ask y'all: have you ever seen that IG account where people talk about some of the secrets of working for different companies?
No, I have not.
I have heard about it past, and I haven't checked it out though. But I think I know what you're talking
about.
This
is on some whistleblower type shit.
Yeah. It's just like people giving some of the secrets. Like one of them is Bank of America moves your charges around so that you overdraft on purpose.
What?
Isn't that some shit?
What? Those sounds of bitches. Excuse my language.
That's super scandalous.
Yeah, I'm gonna find it and make sure that we put it in the description. But since we're all here and we've all had different jobs, what is something that we could talk about that maybe that it's something about the company that the average customer wouldn't know about working there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's some good fodder for a future discussion because I got plenty. I got several that come off the top of my head right now.
We'll make that into a segment. I love that.
Well, I'm gonna do one. I'm gonna do one since I'm with y'all this time.
Go ahead.
So when I was at I used to work at Whole Foods years ago, and one of the things about Whole Foods is, damn, it is so much. It is so much shit.
There's too many to count.
Go ahead, man. Don't hold back.
Yeah, sorry. Okay. I think I'm gonna say this one. When you're at the people at Whole Foods.
Wow.
Hey, put them on blast, bro.
Go ahead.
The people at Whole Foods all do drugs that work at the prepared food areas. Everybody's high.
All right.
Nothing too crazy, but everybody's high.
Everybody's high. Okay.
Everybody's high. The reason they smiling at you so much. That hello, that's not a regular hello.
That's a high low.
Everybody's high.
High low.
That's a high low. It is the biggest high.
That's fun.
Hey, well, shout out to Whole Foods for letting your workers enjoy themselves while they're on the job.
Yeah, as long as you know what I'm saying, they doing their job, go ahead, play ball.
Right.
Do what you do.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
That being said, though, I want to let's move on to our next segment here. So this is another new segment for us. So as some of our listeners may already know, me and Chris, we are roommates. We're almost like brothers, but many of you do not know, we don't like each other. Like, I hate this guy for, like, you know, ever. The first time I saw him, I was like, bro, you're not going to replace me. He came up to me, he whispered, he was like,
This is real documentary. You guys don't fuck with each other. How's that been?
Not at all.
I don't like, you know, things just kind of, you know, calm down for peace sake. You know what I'm saying? But still, every now and then, we like to settle our differences. So this new segment is specifically for that. This is called Clash of the Chris's right here. All right. So every podcast, we're gonna bring you a new topic where me and Chris get to discuss something that we just don't agree on. All right. And so this week we're gonna play a game, and it's called Smash, Date, and Pass. And we have 3 contenders today. Drum roll, please, Mr. Chris.
I don't have anything to be.
I don't like you, bro. Hey, maybe just say never.
I don't have anything to be.
Y'all see why I don't like Chris? Anyway, that's the drum roll.
It is. I know.
So we're going to do Kerry Washington, Aaliyah, and Candace Owens. You got to smash one, you got to date one, you got to pass one. Which one you doing?
All right, so let's see. Candace Owens, Aaliyah, and Kerry Washington. So in terms of smashing, right? Gosh, this is a tough one.
Yeah,
all 3 are tough contenders.
No, they really are.
All 3.
They really
all 3. I'm going to have to say, and this is a toss-up between these 2, but I'm going to say I'm going to marry Aaliyah. I'm gonna marry Aaliyah.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
I'm not mad at you for that.
I'm gonna marry Aaliyah because I mean she just got that. She knows how to rock the boat.
Bro, you are crazy. You're marrying a dead chick? You're wild. Wild boy.
I'm a wild boy. Yeah. Hey. Let me stop.
You're gonna knock the dust off that pussy for real.
But she's got the legacy. You know what I mean? When you marry somebody and you establish a family, you want legacy. You know what I mean? And Aaliyah has that. She's got the beauty, she's got the talent, she's got the legacy. And like you said, she could rock the boat. So you feel me? I can't swim, but I'm down to be in the boat rocking. I'm gonna go ahead and date Kerry Washington. She seems like a really fun chick. I've talked to people who have worked with her on set. She seems like a very down to earth, very just cool chick. You know, so I want to see what that's about in terms of a date or 2, and then yeah, I'm gonna have to kill. I'm sorry, it's pass. Excuse me,
murder.
I'm gonna have to pass on Candace Owens for sure.
For those of y'all who don't know, Chris has very strong feelings about Candace Owens.
Yeah.
You know, she's pretty good.
She's cool. She could be, if she, you know. I'm gonna leave that topic alone.
All right.
I'm gonna leave it alone. All right. Who's your marry, pass, or smash?
All right. So here we go. So my marry is, I'm definitely gonna say Kerry Washington, because she's just, I mean, not only is she fine, but she also exudes like this class. Like when you think of Kerry Washington, man, you think it's just like a classy, black, fine, independent woman. Just like, I mean, from Boomerang to,
I'm sorry, Boomerang?
Yeah, Boomerang.
You might be thinking of somebody else.
She wasn't in Boomerang.
Oh, you know, I'm sorry. Is that I Think I Love My Wife?
Yes.
Okay, I'm sorry. The movie I was thinking about is I Think I Love My Wife with Chris Rock. Yeah. So,
I mean, that's a funny movie.
That is a hilarious movie, but she's so fine in that movie, bro. She's so fine in that movie. Let me make sure I got this right, though, because...
Yeah, she is in that movie. Yeah, she does look
good.
That's
right.
Oh, my God, bro. Yeah, I just pulled up a picture, guys, and I got to double down on that. She's so fine. So I would definitely marry Kerry Washington. Our babies would be beautiful. I would definitely date, and this one me and Chris going to fight over, because I would date Candace Owens. And I'll tell you why. Because I like to have a good debate. Like I like to have, and I think
On a date?
on a date, yeah, absolutely. A date is
terrible.
But this dude want to be yelling at his chick at the dinner table.
No, Candace, you don't know what you're talking about. I would definitely date Candace on because I think that it's not just a debate, but just to open up and get to learn about people. I think a dating environment is a great environment for that. And I think that regardless of her political views, she has an interesting view on the world, you know. And you know, if I play my cards right, I might see her entire world.
Somebody needs to set you up with her real quick so you can just smash and forget about that, bro. Because she's not helping out the culture at all.
If you can make that happen, LJ, set that up for me, bro.
Yo, Candace, come holler at the bronze room.
Yeah, yes, sir.
There you
Yes,
go.
sir. Hit up the bronze. Yeah, and then my pass would be Aaliyah, and I'll tell you why. She's not alive.
That part.
So
Bottom line. Bottom line.
that's just where it stops for me.
You can marry or smash her spirit, bro.
That's
Bro, you can't
weird as
play.
hell.
Like, what is this? Like, come on now. What is this, Danny Phantom? You can't do that.
Nah, this nigga is just the gold digger. He just wants the money. This nigga said from the jump,
It's not
legacy.
about
I want
money.
the millions.
All three of the chicks have money.
Nah, you just a gold digger,
Oh,
bro.
man.
Let it be known, bro.
Gold digger.
You guys heard it here first. Chris is a gold digger. All right, so there you go for Classic Chris this week. Hey, just for the fun of it, hey, LJ, let us know, man. What's your smash, pass, and marry?
Okay, I think I would definitely go with the Mary Carey. And let me preface this. You know, I'm in a happy relationship right now, so you know, for all hypothetical purposes, your boy would marry Kerry Washington, and I date Candace Owens for sure.
Y'all are tripping.
Just
bro.
because I mean, it's like I'm with you, Chris, man. Like when you have a good conversation with somebody, you know, it's like them debates could get good, but at the same time, I don't like arguing with chicks. I feel like that is not a benefit for me. You know, like I always look crazy if I'm like trying to prove a chick wrong. Like you don't understand, you know what I mean? So part of me feels like I wouldn't really want to like be out, but you could be dating somebody and just be smashing. So there's that, you know, for hypothetical purposes. And Aaliyah's passed, so I would pass.
She passed. So I love that. Yeah. So Aaliyah passed. So
Oh, man.
But enjoy that skeleton pussy, Chris.
I will. I will. And I'll let you know how it is.
This nigga's crazy.
That's hilarious. All right. So, hey, I think it would be a good topic, though. This is a heated topic, though, so this might get some trouble. But I would, you know, the merits of arguing with a woman, I think definitely down the line we should bring that to
Definitely. I like that.
And how to have, maybe even talk about how to have a productive argument or a productive conversation with a woman.
Yeah, that can help a lot of our listeners out.
Yeah, absolutely.
It can help me out.
Yeah, so good luck on that, LJ. Thank you.
Yeah, hey man, that's a good topic. I can't wait to hear what the next ones are that y'all like, you know, that y'all agree on or disagree on for real. That was dope.
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, there will be plenty more.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't like him like at all, or the fact that this past week he got into a fight with a swordfish and messed up his lip. I don't know if you guys heard that story yet, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, man, I heard about that. It's so crazy, brother. It's so crazy.
Right?
Like,
He sort of knocked straight on the door and just like,
man, this dude is like one with nature on a whole nother level, man. He thought he was Dr. Doolittle. Call you Chris Doolittle.
Doolittle over here. That's awesome. All right, so moving on. Let's get back into it. Our next topic is, since we are on the topic of, women. This gentleman seems to have a lot of trouble with them. Chris, talk to us about what's going on with Deshaun Watson.
Oh, man. Are you saying I got a lot of problem with him, or
No,
Deshaun
not
does?
you. Do you have a lot of
No, not these types of problems. I don't got these types of problems. These are pretty bad, yeah.
They don't get much worse than that.
Yeah. I mean, unless you're talking about R. Kelly.
Yeah.
That's pretty bad.
That is worse. Yeah.
Well, yeah, Deshaun Watson is has been inactive from the NFL since the 2020 season. At the end of that season, a lot of allegations started to pour in, alleging sexual misconduct on his part. All these people alleging this were massage therapists that had worked for Mr. Watson at one point in time. And a lot of them detail going over to his house, performing their duties, and Deshaun exposing himself, I believe, along with groping as well. And yeah. They all came against him in about, I want to say it was the very end of 2020, the beginning of 2021. And the count is now up to 22. And so, he's facing all these in court. It looks like as if he may be picked up or traded from the Houston Texans to another NFL team this offseason. And, honestly, with all these allegations, I would have never thought that an NFL team would have came anywhere near him. I mean, especially considering the fact that, teams wouldn't go anywhere near Colin Kaepernick, for instance.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it really kind of puts those two cases in a stark comparison, or contrast rather.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously this is hypothetical because he has yet to be picked up by another team. But if he is, it will put into question where the moral compass of the NFL is.
Mm-hmm.
Is it in standing with women who hypothetically are victims of sexual misconduct, or does it lie in somebody standing on his First Amendment right to express his opinion?
Yeah, that's such a stark comparison. I had never even thought about that, but when you bring that up, that just seems like such a, I don't want to say double standard because they're both black, but about maybe the values of the NFL.
Yeah, 100%.
Right. So I mean, it's okay that you're groping women and touching them and making them uncomfortable. Touching them with your man and making them comfortable. But it's not okay for you to express your
First Amendment rights.
First Amendment rights. That's very interesting. And Chris, we were talking last week about the comparison of the NFL to the Mandigos, or like slave ownership, like that, right?
Right.
And so that just makes that even more. I guess that doubles down on that conversation. You can't have those rights. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You cannot have those rights as a black man. That's so crazy to me, though. That is very interesting. You have 22 women that are coming against you, for these allegations, and he's still being allowed to interact in the league, whereas Colin Kaepernick was just like, nope, we're done with you.
Yeah, and to be fair, let's make it abundantly clear that this trial of Deshaun Watson's is far from being settled, or a verdict coming to the forefront, or coming out. But
let's make it clear that
innocent until proven guilty in my room, in my mind. That's
how we feel about all things in Ron's room. You are innocent, especially black people. You are innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah.
Because for too long it's been the exact opposite. However, back in the day, bro, I mean, it wasn't too long ago where just the mention of a sexual assault had your entire career taken away from you, and this is before cancel culture.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, 100%.
To me, that's very interesting.
Yeah. Now back to Deshaun Watson's case, and I'd like to discuss where you guys' minds are in terms of his guilt or innocence. This is all speculation, of course, because none of us know. None of us were there. But 22 allegations is a lot of allegations, let alone just one or a couple. 22 is hard to fight against. I know that the lawyer defending him has called into question some of these women's criminal backgrounds. One of them is a felon, an ex-felon, I should say. I don't know for what. I don't know the circumstances.
How do you become an ex-felon? Was that like 7?
I think something like that. Yeah, she's a felon or ex-felon. There are also questions to her or a number of others about their credibility because of statements not lining up, stories not lining up. And so, like we said, innocent until proven guilty should be the standard, not only on the Bronze Room, but in America, because this is a free country and we have something that is a semblance of justice, at least.
Right.
So, this is a heavy topic, and maybe we, I want to treat it with the sensitivity that it deserves. But in terms of what this verdict might be, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say. 22 allegations, all I can say is a lot. And he's fighting a losing battle in my mind.
Yeah, it's pretty obvious that, like, what do you think would be the circumstance that wasn't true?
It's been alleged before that when cases like this come out, it's a money grab. The victims collude together, or the alleged victims collude together in order to, take advantage of somebody doing pretty well. But it's hard to say, if that's actually taking place or not.
Is he trying to pay any of the women? Do you know if he's tried to pay off any? Like settlement.
I'm not sure.
That's interesting.
I can't say.
With settlements go, I think usually a settlement, at least in the public eye, points to guilt, and I think that's where you're going with that, LJ.
Right.
That it points to guilt, but also sometimes you just don't want your name in people's mouth for a long time.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's easier to settle than to lose more money, not only in legal proceedings but also in lost endorsements and things like that. So sometimes it's easier to settle. So that's kind of a gray area too. 22 women though, bro. That's a lot of women. One thing I can say is though, I can't say for sure, but I wonder rather how many of these women are jumping on just to jump on. You know what I'm saying? Like almost like a class action lawsuit type of thing. And I'm even hesitant to say that, right? Because that's a touchy subject, like you said, and there's always the argument that who would put themselves at such public scrutiny for something. But then there's the counter argument, and I'm just playing this out that it's a lot of money that they're going for, right? So there's a whole lot that plays into it, which is so it's hard to say whether or not he is guilty or innocent, but that's a lot of people that have similar stories.
I will say that I believe I started getting notifications on my ESPN app about this originally in December, and they came back to back to back to back to back to back to back. Which you could look at as like, this seems like some collusion. Otherwise, it would be like, hey, one girl filed in October, one girl filed in February, right. One girl filed a police report in January the year prior. You know what I mean? So for it to all come together at once seems a little sketchy. But again, who knows the ins and outs of this? Maybe they did. You know, when one victim comes out, it does give other victims a chance, more courage and strength to talk about their victimization as well. So, you know, that's the counter to that.
That's true. I mean, the timing for those things is always pretty interesting because obviously it takes the time to get something like that in order to work and talk with the lawyer to make sure that you have a solid case to bring forward.
Right.
You know, those things do take time, and I think sometimes the press does a really shitty job of, like, you know, wanting to make a story. Whether or not it is a story, this is definitely a story, right? But, you know, they don't take into considerations, you know, people's livelihoods and things like that. So, you know, they want to get as many views as possible or whatever. So they you know, the bigger the story, you know, the more people that they can group up all at once, the bigger the story, right?
Yeah.
So that's all a thing. But before we move on to the next person who's going to say something about this topic, I did want to touch on, we were talking about felonies. So I did want to make it clear that, you know, we were talking about one of these women is a felon or a past felon in the state of California. You can, a felony stays on your record indefinitely. That means for the rest of your life, unless you have it expunged. And you can have it expunged as soon as you serve your sentence, except for the following felonies. So statutory rape, lewd acts with a child, oral copulation with a child, and this last one I don't even want to mention. But yeah, so there are 4 that you really can't get expunged, but the rest of them you can expunge after you serve your sentence.
Damn.
Interesting. You know, I did want to capitulate.
Okay, I like that word.
Whoa.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
Now, I will say that.
Listen, man, what the hell does that mean? Before you just breeze past that.
But I would like to conversate on, if you will, and if you guys don't feel comfortable doing that, please, by all means, let me know. But I would like to just conversate on what he's being accused of, right? And if this is more of a criminal act or an act of misinterpretation, because that can also be a factor in these types of cases.
Oh, you want to smoke today? You want to?
I mean, let's speak honestly and candidly. You know what I mean? Respectfully, but you know, these are things that should be considered. This thing happens a lot in men and women relationships. You know, consensual. Well, I mean, it was in a working relationship with them.
Oh, yes, that's right.
You know, which can go into a more romantic relationship. You know, now whether that's legal or not, that's another thing. But I'm talking about consensuality. Okay, his charges, as far as I'm concerned, are exposing himself. Now, if
he touched some of these women with his penis.
Oh, he did.
He did.
Oh.
So there are.
Whoa, that's a different situation right there.
I didn't know that.
So, he's on his own.
You guilty, nigga.
No, that's fucked up.
So he actually, there are a couple of instances where he not only exposed himself, but he did touch him
with his penis.
With his penis. Yeah.
How do you do that?
Do you want me to go into detail?
Wait, how do you touch a chick with your dick? What type of question is that, bro?
Trying to imagine just the whole scene, right? If he's laying on a table, how do you? You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm sorry. I'll just stop.
No, it's okay. For me, as long as I'm within.
You can touch somebody with your hand.
Well, as long as I'm within 10
unless you got the extendo.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
How do you? Go gadget penis.
So she. Well, okay. Well, if she's already. Well, where did he touch her? In the mouth?
Right, like where exactly did this happen?
That's true.
These are all the details I guess we won't know until.
I can find this out, but I was just reading just from the depositions that he did touch him.
That's an interesting case you brought up, though. Like, damn, didn't think about that.
Yeah, I mean,
It may
details
be like an attack.
have to be considered. Right. And this is what I'm trying to say. It's like, was this an attack or was it just a imitation? Was it a something that at one point was consensual, but maybe it went too far, and then one of them backed out in regret, or how the details. And maybe these are details that we won't get until this case is over with, and maybe not even then. But I don't know, man. I mean,
that's real.
I haven't been to a massage parlor where they do this, but in many others, from what I've heard, this is all hearsay.
But I think that's the point, that they don't do that.
Ending. You know what I mean? And that's, you know what I mean? Like,
and it's not uncommon, particularly with the more affluent members of society, to be able to have those things provided.
I'm gonna just interject real quick.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that our boy, the owner of the New England Patriots, was caught in a massage parlor that was notorious for
That's the fact.
For sex trafficking.
Okay. So
he was a frequent member there in Miami.
Okay.
What's his name? LJ,
his name Robert Kraft.
Owner of the Patriots. Robert Kraft. And that man is not in trouble.
This is interesting because, that's very, very interesting. Well,
he's a billionaire.
He wasn't being sued.
Maybe he did, and his money just stopped it from coming out.
I just solved the case.
Yeah.
Look,
collect our reward.
$50 an hour?
What? What do you mean?
Oh, my God.
I'm $50,000 an hour, you know? Oh my goodness.
That's funny. So this to me is definitely very, very interesting. Who knows? We'll see what happens. Like I said, I don't know how he touched these women, but it is common, like I said, with members of like affluent, who are more affluent in society to have these services. So where do you draw the line? Is it like, do you have, are you at that point a sex worker, or are you a massage therapist? Or are you a massage therapist or a sex worker charading as a massage therapist?
Right.
And they out there too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
They're definitely out there.
See how he defends himself.
Yeah. We'll be anxiously awaiting more details as this trial processes.
Yeah, and we'll definitely come back to it too. We'll keep everybody updated. Yeah. So
Deshaun, hold
to
your
close
head.
this out. There you go. To close this out, we're going to work on our last topic here. We did want to touch on Ukraine. So we did want to touch on, first of all, our prayers go out to everybody in Ukraine.
Prayers up. Ukraine.
Chris, did you want to bring this in up?
So Russia invaded the Ukraine about a week ago, much to the U.S.'s dismay.
The West is dismay.
Yeah, right, that part. Much to NATO's dismay. They were trying to threaten Russia to the point that they would not consider going into the Ukraine anymore, but they pressed ahead anyway. And it seems as if things might be at a stopping point thus far, because they will be going into negotiations with the Ukrainian president sometime early this upcoming week, tomorrow. And hopefully that'll be the end of warfare, definitely not for war, especially with something that's as trivial or petty as this. He just wants more territory, Putin does.
Yeah.
And, from all accounts, the areas that he's invaded thus far are pro-Russian regions of Ukraine. Am I correct in that?
Mm-hmm.
Except for Kiev, which is the capital of Ukraine. There have been fighting all over there. I think it began as in pro-Russian territories, but the fighting has spread all over Ukraine. I guess at 3 of the 4 sides, if you're looking at Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
But to the Ukrainians' credit, they have been very diligent and vigilant in stopping, well, not stopping, but keeping the invasion at a minimum, so to speak. I mean, who knows minimum? How do you use that word minimum when you're talking about war? But just keeping them at bay. So Russia hasn't been able to fully take over Ukraine. They thought it was going to take much longer than it has. They thought it was going to be something that was very quick. But through support from NATO and the U.S., particularly in terms of weapons and things like that, the Ukrainians have been able to hold off the Russians, primarily in the sky, which is, I guess, what has been the most vital region to defend, because once I guess it was determined that once they get the ability to control the skies, then they can control all of Ukraine and kind of shoot down wherever they want. But the pilots are really whooping out. Their anti-air missiles are really coming in handy, so that's good. Now, as far as Russia and their talking tomorrow for their peace talks, some people have determined that this is probably because they just need more time to re-up and refuel and things like that. They weren't anticipating it would take this long.
Yeah, I mean, who knows what the real truth of the matter is. I'm going to just say off the top of my head and perspective, I don't think the Ukraine is the Ukraine capable of really putting up a fight against Russia?
I mean,
no.
I think
that's true.
Not to put up a, well, what do you mean by put up a fight?
Well, I mean, like you're saying,
Korea, right? We went into Korea and people were like, well, the U.S. is gonna, destroy Korea, and how long were we there for? Like, we got our ass whooped in Korea.
But you also have to consider that was a war of naval troops and Air Force troops, as in contrast to foot soldiers or foot troops.
More guerrilla
Foot Clan.
Right. So you can think of this more like Afghanistan.
Okay.
Right.
It's very mountainous.
Not very mountainous. Just a lot of infrastructure that Russia has promised not to touch. A lot of civilian infrastructure that Russia has promised not to touch. Good. Not only that, but the Ukrainians have they're I guess have been really trained in urban combat, fighting from buildings, things like that.
Good.
And like I said, they're anti-air missiles because you need that airspace so that you can bomb wherever you need to bomb. So they haven't had a clear and open, right? Because they're anti-air missiles. And then they've also been putting up a really good fight in the areas that Russia has been trying to attack. But it also to move like a mass as large as Russia has amassed, it takes time, it takes resources. Their supply chain has been damaged.
I don't know how much credit that has, given that Russia is literally right next door. And that's the point that I was saying about Korea. Korea is not right next door to the United States. If we fought Canada, we would be able to do a lot of damage, hypothetically speaking, because they're right here. Russia being right there, with as big as they are, as many resources as they have, as many soldiers that they have, I don't buy the fact that the Ukraine is putting up that big of a fight.
But it's about mobilizing those resources.
Right. I got you. I'm all ears, but I'm just saying, like, if we are trying to figure out if Russia is going into negotiations because of an ineptitude to defeat Ukraine, I think that should be called into question, or at least considered.
I have to agree with that.
I think it, like we said before, this is chess, not checkers. Right. So this might just be a ploy for Russia to come off looking like they're coming at from a standpoint of mercy, rather than some other stuff, trying to get sanctions taken off of them while also winning territory in Ukraine. That's what I'm saying. Oh, they haven't won any.
Well, yeah. I mean, they did recognize two areas in Ukraine. I guess I want to say further eastern Ukraine. Sorry guys if I got that wrong, but like in eastern Ukraine, they recognized two areas as being independent territories, and that was two Ukrainian areas. But but other than that, I don't think they've captured any territory.
Okay. All right. I mean, I'm looking at a map on Al Jazeera's website, and it says that it says Russian controlled, and there's a pretty substantial amount of the country that is colored red, which is Russian controlled.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means that they are absolutely dominating and that territory is theirs or what. But it seems like, according to this map.
But is it Russia controlled, or is it like? Cause, I mean, it's all about how you flip it, or is it Ukrainian contested?
That's what I'm saying, right? So yeah, I'm not sure. But to my point, I don't see Russian troops being stymied by the Ukraine. They are one of the world's leading superpowers.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, exactly. So I don't know. I whatever I hear in the news, I always just question it just naturally, because we've been lied to on so many fronts, on so many topics, in so many different areas throughout history about what's true and what's fake. So I don't know. I think Russia is more competent than that, than to be forced into negotiations.
I would like to think so.
Did you guys have either of you seen the video of the Ukrainian president talking about his attempts to make peace with Russia before they even got to this point?
No. What was going on in that video?
Well, he's in front of a screen. He's talking, and the caption. So in there, he even talks about how the media in Russia is eating this idea of who Ukraine is to the people, but it's not true. Making them out to be certain kind of people, so that way they want to get behind the government to do these things. But he's like, this is not true. Yeah. And he talked about how he calls out the things that they said about him and about Ukraine. And he, is firing back with some facts about what he did as an individual in those certain areas that Russian media was saying maybe they were trying to take over, just to kind of paraphrase some of the stuff he was talking about. So it's like really interesting how they are really tapping in with the media and using that as a way to push their will, and do things that they want to do. And, I think they really got that from us. That's what we fucking do.
Well, we might have got it from the Germans. The biggest time that, propaganda was really used effectively over the past 100 years was in Nazi Germany.
And just look, they ended up calling the people of Ukraine in Russia. They called the people of Ukraine Nazis. So they may have not even. They might have tried to get that right out of that book.
Yeah,
that's so interesting that they were trying to I guess align them ideologically with Nazis. When I don't think there's much similarities, right? I mean, it's like you said, it's just propaganda in the same way that they said that the Jews eat your children. That's some of the propaganda that was used. So I think that it's interesting that they would try to use something that's so blatantly false.
Yeah, but I mean, warfare isn't necessarily fought with guns and knives anymore. It's fought in the battlefield of the mind. So if you get your people on the same page of hating another group of people, you're not going to have any political division in regard to the war that you're waging.
And I think that's key for Russia right now, right? Because this is definitely an unpopular war for Russia, and what they need right now is unity in their country to make this happen.
100%.
Not a lot of people are happy. I'm sure the oligarchs are pissed right now because of those sanctions. I guess Russia has stored up like $600 billion in reserves to for these sanctions, to hold out on these sanctions, but that's going to go quick. It's going to go, sooner rather than later. So there's a lot of people not happy. So they got to keep everybody. I guess the way to control them is to control the mind, like you said. So that's interesting.
Yeah, but like we said earlier, our hearts and prayers are out to the Ukrainian people, the civilians. Nobody likes war, especially at the Bronze Room.
Yes, sir.
And hope that this debacle is wrapped up soon.
Absolutely.
It's wrapped up soon.
Yeah, 100.
Like our love and our prayer goes out to you guys. And yeah, we just want peace. That being said, let's move on to a little bit something more peaceful. We want to turn our attention to our guests before we get out of here, Mr. LJ.
Yo.
Who is just a master of many trades over here. This guy is a music producer. He's an entrepreneur. He got us. He originally, got us set up doing the podcast here. So we got to give a lot of thanks to him. But we want to take a second.
Oh man, y'all funny.
Put spotlight to LJ. Just real shout out before we go. We know we talked about some of your projects, but give us a little bit more about some of the projects that you're working on, something that we should be paying attention to going forward.
Right on, man. I really appreciate that. First and foremost, make sure you stay tapped in with the Bronze Room. This is a platform I know is going to go very far, as especially with the consistency and the topics that get talked about. So, I'm looking forward to what this could really be, months down the line. So I'm looking forward to, investing more of my resources into making this get seen and heard on a broader level. Song Battle is a great platform that I'm putting together, so more up and coming artists, get the opportunity to be seen and heard as well. So if you have never seen it or seen an episode or even heard of it, definitely check out the website. It's on podcasts everywhere. Just type in Song Battle. What else? Go to the Mixer app platform is here to help a lot more artists connect with engineers and recording studios, and it's really my passion project that has grown so many legs, but originally the idea is to put people in better situations so that they could continue to be creative and do the things that they're passionate about, so we got services from audio engineers to voiceover actors, game designers. So we're really looking to beef up the engagement that goes on there as well. And I picked up a couple other opportunities with these live venues out in LA. So stay tapped in. I might be having some live showcases going on pretty soon at a couple of venues out here in Hollywood. So all in all, just trying to stay consistent and pushing this, just moving forward, doing everything that I can to just keep moving forward, getting the attention up, and making sure that all of us are in a position to do what we are naturally great at. You know what I mean?
Heck yeah.
Yes, sir. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Shout out to y'all. Shout out to y'all. I love y'all. I'm loving this.
You too, big bro. Absolutely, man. Thanks for joining us on the podcast today. It's always a pleasure when we get to talk to you, bro. We laugh for days. And if y'all didn't know, LJ is a master chess player. He's only beaten me once.
Oh shit! Hey, that's a huge compliment coming from you, man. I appreciate that.
LJ beat me twice, and I still got it. I owe him one. I owe you at least one, LJ.
I got lucky a couple times, but yeah, man, I love to play chess, and these brothers right here are dope at chess. We will all collectively wash anybody that's listening right now. I can tell you that for sure.
Yes, sir. So if anybody wants to smoke, you know where to find us. Get that chess game on. All right, but that's all the time we have. Chris, you want to say anything before we get out of here?
Yeah, we want to bring one last segment your way called the Vibe of the Week. And for me, my Vibe of the Week is a small organization, small now, but actively growing all across the nation. And that organization is called Train of Thought. Now, this is a program established by a brother right here from the heart of LA in Compton, California. He has established chess programs that come to schools and teach the youth how to play this game of life through these chess pieces. Since 2006, they've partnered with more than 100 schools across the U.S. and have taught more than 50,000 students the game of kings. So check them out. They are actively recruiting instructors to come into their ranks and do the good work of teaching these young kids about life through chess. So check them out at chesstrain.org.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very important. Keeping our youth focused and in line and with good head on their shoulders. So that's definitely a dope vibe of the week. My vibe of the week is not nearly as empowering, but it is nourishing. Christmas is nourishing the mind and the soul, but I'm gonna nourish your body.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I came across this great place in Monrovia, California called Lord Empanada. Shout out to Lord Empanada. They have the best empanadas that I have ever had. So they were founded in 2020 by the Lopez family. And so, yeah, they're doing their thing. They started, just as like a pop-up, just selling chimichurri at like various breweries and stuff like that. And then, they were able to build from that such a great establishment. So if you're ever in Monrovia, man, hit up Lord Empanadas. You have to try. There's so many, but my personal favorite is their breakfast empanada and their pizza empanada. Those are just fire. Oh, and their mushroom and cheese empanada is fire too. You got to try that too. So if you're ever in the area, Lord Empanada, shout out. And that's our vibe of the week. And thank you everybody for tuning in and listening. And we'll catch you next week on
The Bronze Room.